Industries in Georgia.
Crimes being committed in and around Metro Atlanta have dropped as more people are staying at home. I'm Ayana Crystal. We're checking in with police coming up.
A critical service for Dougherty County students now temporarily suspended. We'll tell you why they will not be getting meals from school this week.
The next week is going to be our Pearl Harbor moment. It's going to be our 9/11 moment. It's going to be the hardest moment for many Americans in their entire lives.
A grim warning on the coronavirus crisis. And the main message, it's going to get worse before it gets better, and likely this week. Good afternoon. Glad you're with us. I'm Rick Fulbaum. Sean Gables joins us from her remote location at home as we continue to practice social distancing. Hi, Sean.
Rick, good afternoon. Right now, Americans are preparing for what health officials say will be a particularly deadly week in the coronavirus pandemic. Let's get to those numbers and those cases that are right out of Georgia. The numbers continue to climb despite Governor Brian Kemp's new shelter-in-place order. This all took effect on Friday. Today, the number of cases stand at more than 7,300. Deaths are now up to 229. And this breaking within the last half hour, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson now in the intensive care unit as he continues to battle coronavirus. Officials say doctors made the call after his symptoms continued to get worse. Johnson's office says he's conscious and does not require ventilation at the moment. President Donald Trump wished him well after Johnson was admitted to the hospital last night.
Many people are trying to get unemployment benefits after being laid off because of the coronavirus. Haley Mason is breaking down the hardest hit industries across the state and talking with people who are waiting for relief.
The state unemployment office is in a crunch right now, trying to process claims from people who have recently been laid off. I'm taking a look at the numbers by industry, where people are now left with the greatest needs. For the last couple years, Donovan Walker from Smyrna has worked as a proud professional chauffeur.
When you can take somebody safely through Georgia's streets and highways and you drop them off, there's a certain joy and gratification in my job that comes from what I do.
He's often the face celebrities see at the airport or waiting for them at special events.
So I had an opportunity to meet phenomenal people.
Today, instead of waiting for clients, he's waiting on the long list of Georgia's newly unemployed, trying to get benefits from the state.
Because you're in limbo, you don't know where the income's going to come from, how it's going to come. I hate to tell you, I have $1.25 in my account. I have $5 in saving, and I've maximized that just to survive the last 3 weeks.
Donovan's left to take care of his disabled wife with practically no money. It turns out his industry is one of the hardest hit in Georgia because of the coronavirus pandemic. Looking at the breakdown across the state, accommodation and food services topped the list by far, with more than 65,000 jobs lost in the last week of March. Surprisingly, healthcare and social assistance took a hit next, followed by administrative and support services. The art, entertainment, and recreation industry, where Donovan worked, is next, and fifth, retail trade. Across the country, more than 3.5 million people found themselves unemployed in just the last 5 weeks, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.
You hear about all this money being put out there, but at the end of the day, you're also hearing that it's going to take months to get here. And right now, I've been unemployed for 3 weeks.
Economists I talked to recommend looking for work right now in the grocery store and online distribution industries because they're in high demand right now. We have a list of those types of job listings on our CBS 46 streaming app. Next hour, I take a look at the job loss breakdown by age, race, and gender. Reporting in Atlanta, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.
Haley, thank you. We're also following breaking news on Wall Street. Stocks have extended their gains after some of the hardest hit areas are now showing signs that the worst of the coronavirus outbreak may be on the horizon. Here's a look at today's action on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrials up by 1,600 points. NASDAQ, it is also up by 540 points, and the S&P 500 has inched up by 172. And this is some other news that we're following this afternoon. Your stimulus payment. I know a lot of you are waiting for that. It depends on your 2018 or your 2019 tax returns. If you like to calculate just how much you could possibly get, we posted a calculator on the CBS 46 app to help you figure out just how much you can expect.
Well, if there is any good that can come from the stay-at-home order that we're all living with, it's this. Several law enforcement agencies are telling us that they're receiving fewer reports of crime since the state's lockdown. CBS 46's Ayanna Crystal has those details.
Police told me today with fewer people out, that means less opportunity for crimes to happen. Now, I did reach out to several jurisdictions today, and they tell me that the crime rates have dropped drastically from this time last year.
We would report crime is down in general, and that the calls for service are down in general, and we're very thankful for that.
With people staying at home, crimes in and around Metro Atlanta have dropped. Marietta police say they are still fully staffed and will make arrests if crimes are being committed. Meanwhile, the Cherokee Sheriff's Office says they have changed the way they are policing.
Deputies, they're proactive type of policing that they would normally do. They're really scaling back their self-initiated stuff and looking more to protect some of these businesses that are closed down and not so much enforcement and, traffic and things of that nature.
On calls now, deputies are wearing face masks and gloves, but the goal is to minimize exposure with the general public.
The actual calls for service are down about 12%. Ironically, though, we are starting to see more domestic disputes. And that would obviously come from more people being at home together and kind of cooped up in their house. So those numbers have changed quite a bit. But what's I think a little bit more startling is the number of arrests that have gone down. In 2019, we had over that same time frame, we had about 746 people booked into our jail as compared to this year, we've had about 305. And one of the reasons for that is we're working with other police jurisdictions here in Cherokee County. We obviously want to limit who we bring into our facility.
The Cherokee Sheriff's Office says instead of bringing people to their jails and booking them, deputies will try to write a citation. Now, people will still have to answer to the crime and will have their day in court, but this will limit people being exposed to the coronavirus in their facilities. In Atlanta, Ayanna Crystal, CBS 46 News.
Ayanna, thank you. The Masters, the organizers of the world's largest golf tournament, made a huge announcement today. CBS 46's Fred Khalil, our sports director, is breaking down, they got a brand new date set.
A brand new date. Think about this. While the British Open has officially canceled this year's championship, Augusta National has a new date for the Masters tournament. The Masters will now take place November 9th through the 15th. It is the first time since 1934 the Masters will be played outside of April. Augusta National Chairman Fred Ridley released this statement today. We have identified November 9th through the 15th as the intended dates to host the 2020 Masters. We hope the anticipation of staging the tournament brings a moment of joy to the Augusta community and to those who love the game. Ridley went on to say, quote, "We want to emphasize our plans are incumbent upon favorable counsel and direction from health officials." And what a day this would be. Here's what's on the schedule. The Masters, Georgia at home against Tennessee, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And the Falcons are scheduled to be home Sunday too, Rick?
That's going to be quite a day. Thanks very much, Fred. We have some breaking news on the coronavirus crisis and a dire prediction for the economy. The CEO of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, says a major recession is on the way due to the coronavirus pandemic. He calls the scenario quite severe, with unemployment expected to spike as high as 14%. Dimon expects the downturn to last through the rest of this year. This afternoon, Wisconsin's governor issuing an executive order delaying tomorrow's presidential primary for 2 months. Workers have been trying to install barriers to protect poll workers in Madison, Wisconsin. But across the state, polling sites were closing because nervous volunteers were simply unwilling to staff them. And of course, we are also watching very closely the White House right about now for today's coronavirus task force update. It is set to begin very soon, and we'll carry it for you live right here on CBS 46 the moment it starts.
A lot of information on the coronavirus crisis continues to come in, and it is changing quickly.